Leicester 1 Leeds 0, Marsch loses first game in charge, but much improved visitors show signs of life in relegation fight. Harvey Barnes handed Jesse Marsch a lesson in how cruel the Premier League can be. But if the American had done his homework, he probably half expected it. Barnes celebrated his 100th appearance for Leicester by scoring against a club he has history with. Unfortunately for Marsch, it's been all bad for Leeds, and all pretty much plain sailing for the Leicester winger who has played Leeds 4 times now and scored every time. That puts the England winger in an exclusive club alongside Alan Shearer and Thierry Henry as the only other players to have scored in 4 consecutive Premier League matches against the Whites. Just when it looked as if Leicester couldn't hold out any longer under sustained Leeds pressure, Brendan Rodgers made a couple of tweaks on his 150th match in charge of the Foxes. One of them was to send on Kelechi Iheanacho for a weary Jamie Vardy, and it paid off spectacularly when Barnes combined with the Nigerian to sweep a low shot beyond Dylan Meslier. It was a rare moment of joy for a Leicester side who had Kasper Schmeichel to thank for keeping them in the game until then. At the final whistle, Marsch pulled his players into the center circle for a full-time huddle. In truth, they needed a full-time cuddle because this was a horrible way for Marsch to kick off his new career as a losing manager. However, he got a positive response from Leeds' travelling army, who made it clear they intend to keep marching on together. That's the way it has to be for Leeds United for the remaining 11 games of the season. Leeds' new American boss admitted he had 1 million thoughts flooding through his mind when he took charge on Monday. He probably has a few 100,000 more this morning after his first 90 minutes in charge. Marsch arrived with one simple mantra for his struggling squad: play for the fans, fight for the fans, and be fearless. They did all that and more, yet still came away with nothing. Marsch arrived at the King Power looking to stop the rot after Leeds had slumped to 5 defeats in their last 6 games, form which had left them just 2 points clear of Burnley in 18th. The American has talked a lot of sense since his whirlwind arrival. Now it was time for him to walk the walk. By halftime, he had already shown early encouraging signs of improvement and hit one small but significant target. Leeds had conceded at least twice in the first half in each of their last 5 Premier League games to set an unwanted Premier League record. But they managed to reach their first base camp unscathed as Meslier kept his goal intact. In fact, Marsch would have been a little disappointed his side weren't in front at the break. The visitors carved out 9 shots on goal to Leicester's 3, but couldn't find a way past Fox's skipper Schmeichel. The Danish keeper hit a club landmark on his 461st appearance for Leicester, overtaking fellow goalie Mark Wallington and Hugh Adcock to sit third in the club's all-time appearances chart. And he proved his class with a couple of excellent early stops as Leeds started on the front foot. A sloppy touch from Youri Tielemans from a Fox's throw-in was pounced upon by Jack Harrison, who fed Dan James within 2 minutes. The Welsh speedster burst forward and drilled in a low-angled shot which Schmeichel did well to tip beyond his far post. Luke Ayling then headed a Harrison corner over before Kasper came to the rescue again, blocking Harrison's low shot with his outstretched boot. As Leeds pressed hard, Rodrigo blazed a Harrison cutback over from 12 yards, then another teasing Harrison delivery found no takers. Leicester were hanging on grimly, and Kagler Soyuncu did brilliantly to block Junior Firpo, and then Rafinha after a wayward Tielemans header put his side in trouble. In a rare respite, Ndidi powered in a header from Mark Albrighton's corner, but Meslier managed to gather at the second attempt. And it was Leeds who finished the half on top as Rodrigo leaned back to sky over from 12 yards as Marsch clenched his fists in frustration. It didn't get any easier for the new man after the break as Leeds continued to turn the screw without scoring. A James shot ricocheted off Rafinha and flew wide. Then a Harrison shot clipped a Marty on its way over before Schmeichel reacted brilliantly to beat out Rodrigo's flashing header. As Leeds grew in confidence, Marsch's frustration grew too. And he held his head in his hands on the hour when Rafinha somehow failed to convert a Firpo cutback as Schmeichel amazingly blocked his shot from 4 yards out. Rodgers had seen enough and made a double substitution, sending on Iheanacho and Ademola Lookman for the tiring Vardy and Hamza Chowdhury. It was a positive move, and it had an almost instant payoff moments after Marsch had replaced Stuart Dallas with Joe Gelhardt. Betting special: get City at 25-1 or United at 101 against the run of play the Foxes struck to slice through the Leeds defense. Tielemans fed Harvey Barnes, who pinged a speedy 1-2 off Iheanacho and then opened up his body to side foot beyond Meslier as Ayling failed to block with a despairing slide. It was cruel luck on Leeds and Marsch, who deserved better, but they will be hugely heartened by their vastly improved performance. 1/2 Read our Football News live blog for breaking news, transfer gossip and must-read stories.